Apparently last night I left myself a recorded message.
Hey, sober Chris, this is drunk Chris from last night. You f***ing suck, dude. Sort out your life, man. What, you think you're a YouTube superstar? You're a f***ing fucking core, man. Absolutely. No.
I mean, he's got a point. Anyway, on this week's Techspert Weekly, we dive deep into Xiaomi's mysterious and tantalizing 13 Ultra, which should be launching before summertime. That's assuming we actually get a summer here in the UK, of course, and that by spring the entire country isn't just a frost-covered tundra. And then following that bit of fun, and also assuming I haven't ingested enough alcohol to slay a fully grown polar bear, we'll do the usual viewer comments thing. Jingle it just a little bit. Techspert Weekly! So while Xiaomi has already launched its 13 series smartphones in a suitably global fashion, there's still bugger all sign of that Xiaomi 13 Ultra, at least in a proper official capacity. However, Xiaomi has confirmed that it is working on the handset, and it has popped up in various online databases with the suitably alluring codename of Ishtar. Now, this could be in honour of the 1980s Dustin Hoffman flick, but as it was a massive flop on account of being f***ing dreadful, that seems kind of unlikely. Most likely Ishtar is a reference to the ancient goddess of war and sexual love. So fighting and f***ing then. Here she is, becoming famous with one of history's first ever recorded nip slips about 4,000 years before Janet Jackson was even born. I've got to say, I really like that energy, Xiaomi. I already want this bloody phone. Now last year, Xiaomi suddenly and unexpectedly got all hot and fumbly with optics expert Leica, who was previously in a deep relationship with Huawei. And this little Huawei so far seems serious, with Xiaomi's latest flagship sporting the Leica branding on that arse like a good old-fashioned tramp stamp. So yeah, you can once again expect a collaborative effort on the camera tech between Xiaomi and Leica. The big question of course is, will the Xiaomi 13 Ultra turn up rocking that almighty 1-inch Sony IMX898 sensor? So far we've heard surprisingly little, but if this leaked image of the Ultra isn't a bag of photoshopped arse biscuits, then it looks like we will again have a tasty 1-inch sensor stuffed inside, just like the Xiaomi 13 Pro. And this is kind of the problem, because the Xiaomi 13 Pro already had a really bloody good camera setup, so what are they going to do to make the Ultra so ultra? I can't quite decide if it's genius or f***ing stupid, but could we possibly see something akin to the Xiaomi 12S Ultra concept phone from last year, where you could actually mount certain Leica DSLR style lenses onto the arse end? The idea of carrying bulky lenses around with you all the time seems a bit mental, but the concept phone actually has a standard camera with a 1-inch sensor, and then an additional sensor that you can slap those big boys onto when you want to get serious. It's the kind of thing that would probably have Sony's Xperia smartphones creaming their pants. For the battery, well, Xiaomi has just announced some massive advancements it's made in the world of solid-state battery tech. Apparently, they can increase the capacity of a battery about 33% compared with the old lithium-ion batteries we currently see crammed inside of smartphones. So while this here regular Xiaomi 13 sports a 4,500 mAh capacity lithium-ion effort, with this new solid-state breakthrough, the same phone could apparently offer an almighty 6,000 mAh battery instead. Unfortunately, from what I've read on Tinternet, it sounds like Xiaomi may be at least a year away from actually implementing this technology into a proper retail handset, so don't expect to see it crammed into the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. Most likely we'll just get the usual big arse lithium ion battery, maybe a 5,000 mAh, maybe a 6,000 mAh, you never know. Pardon me. However, according to various rumours, we'll only get 90 watt wired charging on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, which is pretty crap, really, compared with the 240 watt fast charger we just got on the Realme GT3. But hey, I mean, all of these leaks could just turn out to be a massive sack of horse cocks anyway, so whatever. Other leaked specs so far aren't too surprising. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra should be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, same as the other Xiaomi 13 series blowers, while the software should be pretty much identical. A good bit of MIUI 14 with all of the usual bollocksware stacked on top. Of course, one massive bloody important question is, will the Xiaomi 13 Ultra actually be available to buy in, stores and shit? After all, last year's Xiaomi 12S Ultra, despite looking pretty frickin' lush, never actually made it to the UK, which was a bit poo. Well, good news for anyone who actually made it this far into the video and has plenty of cash stashed away. because the Xiaomi 13 Ultra has already been confirmed as a global device by none other than Li Jun, the CEO of Xiaomi. So a pretty decent source then, not just your usual Twitter twats. And of course, no, the actual pricing of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra hasn't been confirmed yet, but considering the Xiaomi 13 Pro cost well over $1,000, you can expect the Ultra to come in at somewhere between a pair of kidneys and a spinal column. But anyway, hopefully it won't be too long till that big old blower finally launches, and more on all that shiny shenanigans when we have it. But now it's time for the part of the show that just about almost rhymes with puke or vomits. It's fewer comments. Fewer comments. And we've got to kick off this week with my boy Lover of Tech. You're right, mate. I hope all is good. Who says, legend has it Techspert drinks like a Viking. And so this is my chum Benjamin, who's also a fellow YouTuber. Definitely go check out his channel if you haven't done already. Yeah, we may have knocked back a couple of steins in Barcelona for good old MWC. Unfortunately, I don't think many Vikings would have followed up 2 massive beers with an old-fashioned in a Ponty cocktail joint, but hey-ho. But yeah, it's also good to actually have these events occurring in real life again, so I can share a drink with my fellow tech spods rather than just drinking by myself in this room. Next up, Dave and Davis says, damn, Uncle Spurt reminded me when I first saw him at Rukombu. Either we're both getting old or we've been tech enthusiasts for as long as dinosaurs roamed the earth. And Fraser Tucker says, sent me back when you talked about Rukombu. I sent you back not that far. I mean, come on, you're making it sound like I'm friggin' geriatric already. When did I leave Rukombu? It was 2018, I think, so actually about half a decade ago. Bloody hell. That kind of went by in a blur, mostly alcohol related. But yeah, I do kind of miss those Rukombu days, actually having a team of people, that was lovely. And a video editor as well, who actually knew how to edit videos, make them not look shit. So in last week's show, I was of course banging on about the Motorola Rollable Concept Phone, or the Motorollable as it should have been called really, which they waggled about at MWC to give us all a proper eyeful. Gaz is asking, do you think it'll ever become available to buy? Unfortunately not, mate. It is very much a concept phone. They've definitely got some refinements to make before they can release anything with that sort of tech. And the pessimist/realist in me says that, oh, it's probably never actually going to be released in any kind of form, in any kind of actual phone. It's just more of a, ooh, look at us and what we can do kind of thing. Patrick says, sympathies to see on that Motorola clip, Uncle Spurt requiring the help of a young lady to get it up. Happens to us all eventually. Beautifully compact, but a double tap of the power button activates a motor which pushes the screen upwards. Alright, before rumours start getting spread about the place, I can 100% confirm that definitely was not me. I was just sort of cheekily filming that bit over some dude's shoulder because as usual there was about 30 nerds and about 2 smartphones. That all said, if Motorola could come up with some sort of clever knob augmentation so I could just push a button and Mr. Happy would be automatically extended, I would be very pleased with that. Now, one of the potential pitfalls of this Motorola rollable design is the durability, because when you extend the screen, what's actually happening is the screen is pushing up above the rest of the body of the smartphone. It's kind of stuck up there by itself and it could potentially get f***ed. But Powell may have come up with a clever solution. He says that Motorola might want to implement those fall sensors that smartphones used to have when they had the pop-up cameras. Yeah, I remember those pop-up selfie cams were really popular for a hot minute. I mean, like OnePlus and ZTE and Vivo and a few others did one. But yeah, if you actually dropped the phone when the pop-up selfie cam was extended, then it would just zip straight back into there, kind of like my gonads retracting into my body whenever Jim's cordon walks into sight. Unfortunately, on the Motorola rollable phone that I fondled, it took the motor a good couple of seconds to extend and then retract that display again, so it's going to have some sort of extreme spinny mode if it's going to be able to retract quickly enough before it hits the ground. And Powell continues, considering the Honor Magic 5 Pro, when's the proper review, and also stop boozing and get some food in you. Well, starting with the second point there, booze is basically food but leveled up, because not only does it contain the calories to keep you going, but it also gets you twatted. As for the Honor Magic 5 Pro, well, I do have a sample right here, but unfortunately I can't really do much with it right now because apparently it's not releasing for at least another month or so, and so the software on it is very early pre-release stuff, so I'm not allowed to test out the camera, I can't really test out the gaming performance or any of that stuff either, so there's absolutely bugger all point. I might as well just wait until the software gets updated and then review it. So really sorry about that. I was really looking forward to reviewing that bad boy. Looks like a bit of a beast, but yeah, it's kind of just a massive tease from one already. It's kind of like handing me a bottle of single malt and then saying, oh yeah, by the way, it needs another month to mature. I just want to guzzle it, damn it. Next up, Info Orange says Motorola could take over the LG mantle for innovation. They have a bigger presence to make it work. Yeah, 100% agree. It's a brand that people know and trust. So yeah, Motorola could put out some really crazy arse stuff and people would probably just shrug and say, all right, a phone that transforms into a toasty machine. F it, I'll have some of that. And Info Orange also has a book recommendation as well. He says, Our Man in New York by Henry Hemon. It tells the story of William Stevenson, who went to America with instructions from MI6 to encourage the US to enter World War II. That's a good show. I'm actually already pretty intrigued as to what this lad did to try and encourage America to get stuck in. Did he basically just wander into whatever the 1940s equivalent of Starbucks was and just start conversations with complete randoms? Hello there, Yank, how are you? Frightful business, all this World War II stuff, what? Although I guess you lot don't really care, do you? You just kind of sat there with your fingers in your ears, waiting for it all to blow over, eh? I guess you do that enough times, get them all proper riled up. Looks like we've got quite a few other recommendations here as well. John Mason says, Great North Road by Peter F. Hamilton. I'm a massive science fiction fan and I've read hundreds of books, but I consider this to be a masterpiece. It is a long one, pause for snickering, but stick with it and you will be rewarded. Yeah, I've never actually read any Peter F. Hamilton, but I've seen his name pop up plenty of times on various Amazon recommendations and stuff. So yeah, cheers for that, John. I will definitely bung that on the list, because much like your mum, I do love a long one. Nick Collins says, try the Slough House series by Mick Herron. It's quite amusing. Let's check that out. Oh yeah, more spy shenanigans by the looks of it. Definitely sounds good. Happy to slap that on the list. And Julian says, if you've not read Brandon Sanderson's books, they're all good. I do like his writing, but I made it, I think it was about $2.50 into one of his fantasy epic series fairly recently, and frankly by that point there were about 200 characters to keep track of, and I had absolutely no idea what was going on. I might as well have been reading War and Peace in Portuguese after 5 pints of vodka with a blindfold. Absolutely all clue what was happening. It's a shame, I wish I had the mental capacity to sort of keep track of that sort of stuff. I think like Game of Thrones and like that is probably about my level. Semi-Jocular says either the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or a version of Seneca's letters like Letters from a Stoic. Both are Stoic philosophy of the highest caliber. Are these going to take me on some sort of retrospective spiritual journey inside of my own soul and mind in order to find a kind of inner hidden peace or something? Because I warn you, I already tried that after smashing back a bag of fungi once, and I ended up just pissing myself and then attacking the fridge because I thought it was an alien spacecraft. Another recommendation, Greg Martin says, Hi Spurty, have you ever watched Debbie Does Dallas? It's well worth a Todger squeeze. Okay, was that a book before it was a movie? Or maybe they novelised the film, which, I mean, I'd kind of be interested to read that. But I think we've just got massively off topic here, haven't we? John Paul Graham says, Hi Uncle Spurt, I'm currently struggling with some mental health issues. I find that Fridays and the run up to the weekends are a real struggle. Your Techspert Weekly videos on a Friday puts a smile on my face and cheers me up no end. Oh, really sucks to hear that you've been struggling, mate, and yeah, I've been there several times before, that's for damn sure. It's definitely true what they say, we're our own greatest enemies and all of that. I found personally what helped me the most was very loud, angry metalcore music. The louder and shoutier the better. But I hope you're back on track soon, man, and glad that somehow this stupid little internet show does help in some little way. Oh, and in response, IG says, if you live in the UK, mental issues are normal nowadays. Yeah, hard fact. Rebecca Reimer says, your shirt is the same colour as my favourite pistachio ice cream, and now I need to get my lazy rear end off the sofa and waddle through sleet and ice to the nearest shop to buy said ice cream. I hadn't planned on spending any money today, but here we are. Thank you, Sir Spurt. I do what I can. And what's the name of this ice cream brand, by the way? I need to hit these f***ers up, get some affiliation money. El Mirador says, how many times you mentioned arse in this video? Well, I'm obviously not going to go back and watch it again, but I'm going to have a punt at 12? I can only assume you're not an arse guy, maybe more of a leg man. Next up, King Lasker says, on the topic of tablets, one feature I love on the Lenovo Yoga Tab 13 is the HDMI input capability. It's been a godsend when I've needed to extend my laptop display while working, particularly during the height of COVID. This did leave me wondering why more brands didn't include this feature. Yeah, you certainly don't see HDMI on tablets very often. I guess a lot of them are trying to be as sort of slimline and lightweight as possible, and that would kind of bulk it up a bit. But quite a lot of tablets from like Huawei and Samsung do offer some sort of wireless second screen feature now, although usually only if you're also using them in conjunction with a laptop from said manufacturer, so they can extract as much money from your purse as possible. And hey, Christ, get a load of me answering an actual tech question like I'm some sort of science-knowing guy. Frankly, I've got a bit of a headache now. Let's see if we can find another comment about knobs or booze or something. And J Cinematic says, never watched an episode before this one. Well, good sir, you've only got 144 to catch up on, no worries. Crappy Entertainment says, hey Chris, any news on the Redmi Note 12 Explorer Edition or the Redmi Note 12 series in general? Bugger all, unfortunately. I was certainly expecting them to have launched by now. I was thinking more sort of January, February time, but who knows, maybe the Redmi team all got absolutely bollocks in their New Year celebrations and they're only just waking up around now with a stinking hangover. Also on the subject of cheapy phone launches, Paul Moran says, I hear that the Galaxy A14 has quietly launched. Any indication of the timetable for the A34 and the A54? You're right, sir. The A14 has indeed trickled out, those sneaky buggers, but so far it seems to be US only. There's absolutely bugger all sign of it on the UK Samsung website, which is a shame. The A34 and the A54 are heavily rumoured online to be launching next week, so stay tuned. There might be a little bit of tasty video action popping up on here, if that's correct. Also, the prices appear to have leaked online this week, and they don't seem to be quite as affordable as previous generations. The A34 was going to be 419 euros, I believe it was, and the A54 is going to be over 500 euros. And there's talk of them still spawn an Exynos chipset, just like last year's A53, so we'll have to see what happens there. Anyway, that's all the time we got this week, so a massive thank you to everyone who did a bit of the old comments last week. Please do bang your comments down below and we'll try and smash our way through as many of those as heartily and merrily as possible next week. And speaking of next week,
this is about next week.
Well, once again, I have very little in the diary, which is an absolute pleasure. As I say, potentially Samsung will be launching these smartphones. The rumour is next Wednesday. But apart from that, well, don't worry, your Uncle Spurt will be very busy indeed because our great mates at Motorola have sent over no less than 4 new bloody Moto G smartphones. Hip hip huzzah. It's got all those buggers to unbox and test out. So I'll be doing all of that. I've got a couple of other smartphones piled up as well. So anyway, have yourselves a bloody wonderful weekend, everyone. Please do, as I say, smash those comments down below. Poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell, any other YouTube shit that I've missed off. See you later, love you!